Hello Internet, thank you for taking the time for another tutorial. We are building a text editor called Tetragrammaton using the IntelliJ IDE. In this tutorial we added a treeView over to here. We called it file tree. On the text view we found our file tree, we Alt-Enter, and we did put it in the controller. Here's our file tree, add fxml. Now this is one function that I didn't know how to produce. So the great skill of a developer is that you don't necessarily need to know how to solve every technical problem, but you need to know where to go in order to find the answer. So I use Google, which most of the time I love using Stack Overflow answers because they are right to the specific point. And I'm not just saying I copied the code without, that's plagiarism. So you have to be able to know how to document where this answer came from. So stackoverflow.com answer, this is the exact URL for it. It was answered on this date and time by the author, and I said no, original was using checkbox tree item. I updated code to my needs. So I used the tree item instead of checkbox because I didn't want to, I just didn't need to use the checkbox. So this will look like this over here on this side, the tree view with these little arrows. Okay, so here is his answer. He did it in one file with two different methods, and so for my specific answer I did another class called getTree, and again I had the note of where I found the information. So we called a class getTree. We have a static void method called createTree. It takes a file, tree item, a string called parent. We're going to test if this file is a directory. If it is, we're going to do a tree item of string type called tree item, new tree item, file get name. We're going to take that parent object that we passed through, which is this tree item, get children, add the tree item. And then for every file, f file, list files, we're going to create tree, f tree item. So you can see it's calling its own method. It's a recursive. If it's not a directory, it must be a file. So parent get child and add new tree item file get name. Alrighty. So that's that method. Here in the controller, what we did, display tree view, string input directory location. We're gonna create the get tree object, call it tree, and then create the roots item, tree item, string, root item, new tree item, input directory location. File tree show, set show root is false because we don't necessarily need to see the path. Create the self factory tree, file tree set, and this file tree is what I'm using from my fxml is the treeView object. And set self factory text field tree cell for treeView file object file input directory location, new file input directory location. And this is what I had to update on my, because over here he had the file list array, which doesn't actually work, so we needed to change it from a file object to a list object of type files, and then we'll call it a file list, file input directory location, list files method. These, of course, as you're adding them into your code, you're hitting Alt-Enter so that you can get the inputs that you need. Okay. And where are we? At this point we have a list of files, and then create the tree for a file called file in the file list, tree, create tree. That's we're calling the method that we brought in from the get tree over here. And we're using that one method, create tree, and then file tree, set root, root item. Okay. Here in our initialize, we had to go up to the controller. We had to implement the initializable. Alt-Enter, Alt-Enter, Enter, so that we could add the initialize method, and then we added display tree view upon initializing of this controller, so that when the program loads up, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. When the program loads up, this would automatically be set, where are we? On the treeView. System get property user directory. So that is display treeView. That is this method, display treeView, and the string is the input directory location. What location? It depends on what the user, the directory of the user of the system is. Okay, so we'll go ahead and run this so you can see what it looks like. Now, we didn't add the functionality to this treeView yet, to where we click on it has no, it doesn't have a listener, an event listener added onto it. So when we click on a file, it doesn't yet open it up into the tabbed pane, which I'll show you. See, here's exactly what directory are we in. We're in this one for the system user, so it's displaying those files there. And of course we have everything that is there that needs to be there. Again, like I said, it doesn't have the listener added to it, so if we double click this, it's not opening it up over here. That perhaps will be the next video. So that takes care of that. Real quick, what we're going to do is update our get all add. Okay, we did status. Let's see. We have a bunch of modified files. Okay, that we have for the last couple videos. We didn't get commit message. Let's see here. We did a few modifications. We did added treeView. We'll say for this one. Okay, now we want to do get push origin master to update our remote repository code base. It's going to ask for our username and login. And there it is. If we go back over to here to our page, we can refresh it to our Git repo, and we can see we have a new added treeView. So that updated perfectly. Thank you, Internet. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this. Questions, comments, concerns, leave it below. Thanks a lot.